Only 10% is due to stupid people, right? And we're in the stupid people fixing business. So a lot of times, this is a little side lesson that has to do with the performance problem is, people don't ever come to us with a problem. They come to us with a preconceived solution because by definition, we're the people who fix stupid people. So if they come to us, what are they thinking? They're thinking we got stupid people. I need a time management course. My people just aren't running around fast enough. You know, you start to dig at that. It's an intrinsic motivation problem usually. So we've got this issue from an enterprise perspective where we're asked to do more than we actually have jurisdiction over. So we can either say, oh, no, we can't do that. We're already got a problem with the packaging problem where our budgets are dwindling. So now if business is coming in the door, do we turn it away? Or we have to kind of move up the value chain and start talking a little bit more about, well, we can help you with the issue, but we don't think it's stupid people. When I was at Nortel, again, going back to that day, we had a big problem where people saying, the executive of the R&D environment was saying, you know, we need to have an innovation class. We need to get like Ed DeBono's 7 creative hats in here or something. And I said, why? What's leading you to think that that's the issue? It's like, well, our products are always Me Too products. We're not coming up with brand new great products, and our competitors are beating us. Oh, okay. And so what percentage of new products should we be having, and so on and so forth, going through this kind of diagnosis. So I said, this was a long time ago. This is a very long time. I said, well, there's this new cool technology out. It's called email. We just got an email. I said, what about we just send out an email over the weekend to the 1,500 engineers and scientists in our company that goes something like this. We think you're dumb and that you don't have any ideas to make this company money. Please prove us wrong. Did I mention we just got email? So like, you know, server load and stuff. So we had 1,573 responses over the weekend when we came in on Monday. So I just kind of brought it back and said, I don't think we got a knowledge problem here. And then we got into a whole process and workflow issue, but the point is, it wasn't a knowledge problem. I mean, think about it. You're hiring folks from MIT and Stanford and, you know, name it, Virginia Tech. I have to put in a plug for my institution. They're trained to be engineers. They understand this stuff. It's not that they got a full frontal lobotomy when they walked in the front door. That's their job. Their job is to think creatively. So a lot of times the problem's outside our jurisdiction. So the question for us is, do we pick up the other end of the stick, or do we continue to absolve ourselves of responsibility for that piece of the business? The next one's the routinization problem. I'm going to go into that in more detail. But the whole idea is, in the history of technology, what we do is we tend to apply it to automate the past, bad assumptions and all. And I'm going to talk about that in great detail as we move forward. The transfer problem is well known in the literature. Mary Broad is probably the most well known, but Tannenbaum and a whole bunch of others. On average, transfer, the amount of stuff you're going to remember walking out the door, no matter how entertaining I am or how anything, is on the order of maybe 15 to 20% being generous. You might remember I said something interesting and you refer to your notes or whatnot. This thing will be in tape. You can go back and look at it. But there's a fundamental transfer problem. This is a pretty lossy transfer mechanism. Certainly more lossy than the download through the matrix, right? And the last problem, which is a really important problem, I'm a business school professor, so I'm trying to look at this from, you know, business lens, is what, on average, how much is spent in training inside an enterprise as a percentage of revenue? On average, every industry, ASTD data, less than 1. 0.44 is the 2002 data. 0.44, less than 0.5% of revenue, okay? Now, so let's assume that back in the day, you know, the past, present, and future that Sharon talked about. Let's assume that all these people who are figuring out, oh, cool, we can automate the classroom system, we can create a registration system, we can take all our courses and we can put them online, and then we'll have, oh, we need a learning content management system for one of those. So we have an LMS that kind of does all the organizing of getting bodies into virtual places, and then we got an LCMS that gets the content to the person, and then we'll wrap some other stuff around it. Let's assume, let's just assume that there's no issues with IT, because there never is, right? They just welcome you with open arms when you want to implement an LMS or an LCMS. And let's assume that you know, we are very technologically astute, us in learning. We don't have techno-lust. We're not like 17-year-old gawky teenagers dealing with technology, and we've never had a bad history in implementing technology to further our business before. Let's just give ourselves some credit. Perhaps not due, but let's give it to us. So, and let's assume that if you do implement flawlessly, you get 100% return. meaning you can either do twice as much training in half the time, or you can cut your budget in half. First thing is, what happens? What does the executive say? Do twice as much or cut your budget in half? Okay, so that's good. That's 0.22% of revenue. If you execute flawlessly and applying technology to existing strategy, you don't even get in the door to see the CEO because all you've delivered is 0.5% of revenue. CEOs want like 10% before you even get in to talk to them. So what I'm saying is the automation trap doesn't get us to a level at the business where they want to talk to us. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of it's a really tough issue. Anyone feeling depressed? Good, mission accomplished. Now for something completely different. This is the ADD part of the conversation. That's my granddad, Michael O'Driscoll. He ran the local school tech. I'm from a place called Youghal in Ireland, Youghal in the south. And he ran the tech for 20 years. Everybody knew him. Great man. Died on the 13th hole of the golf course. Drove the ball about 280 yards. And every year we go home. We have a family reunion in his honor the last week in August. And everybody knows my grandfather. So it's I've got education in my roots and in my bones. Now, as I think about my grandfather's life, I was pondering it. I mean, he saw transatlantic radio, electricity, radio networks, phone systems, cars. Cars. Air travel, washing machines, television, global monetary systems. I'm just amazed that he didn't spontaneously combust walking down Main Street in Youghal, let alone, on the golf course, because the amount of change that got thrown at this man was absolutely astounding. If you just think of when he was born to when he passed away in the late 70s, an incredible, somebody went to the moon, for crying out loud, So from not even having a wireless radio, I'm not talking about a wireless phone, I'm talking about a wireless radio. Yeah, this is, BBC World Service. You have the old coat hanger in the shape of a diamond, tin foil on top of it. To somebody going to the moon is a pretty profound technological inflection point. Would you agree with me? These are my kids, Aiden and Liam. 6 and 4. My youngest, Liam, is a big ACC sports fan, as you can tell. So I don't know where they learned that. Somebody told somebody. In fact, the same guy, the senior VP of learning, when we went in to see the CEO, and he said he was about to abolish us. When I had kids, he told me something really cool that always stuck with me. He said, parents who have kids who read don't read a lot to them. They read a lot. Get it? It's your behavior. They track your behavior. So, mea culpa, but I think they got the idea on the top left from me. Now, here's the question. Oh, I got more. I have to hit all my family members in every talk. Infoglut. Here's the next quiz. By the end of next year, by the end of 2010, the codified information base, the amount of digital stuff sloshing around in the system, is expected to double every X. I want to know what X is. I'm only going to give you 30 seconds this time. How fast will the amount of stuff on the web be doubling at the end of next year, 19 months from now? Go. Okay, time's up. How quick? 1 week. 1 week less. No more. Less. 11 hours. Now, I'll tell you, I've been doing this for a while. This research comes out of Nick Bontis and Saratoga Institute. And they looked at it from 3 different angles, what's the demand for computing and so on and so forth. The interesting thing is, I've been doing this, asking this research is older, and I've been asking this question for a while. It's increasingly evident to me that people are going to a shorter time frame. It used to be a year. I'm like, well, no, a year is the unit, it's got to be less than that. And but then they'd be like, okay, 9 months. And the more I've been doing this lately, it's like, oh yeah, 30 seconds. And it's like, we're not amazed. We're not amazed anymore. It's like, if the air was to be sucked out of this room right now, how interested would you be in what I'm saying? Not very interested, right? But now that it's here, you don't really care. It's like the frog in the water thing, right? We're just not aware. But think about us as learning professionals. What this means is, how many of you get too much email today? Okay, well then, why don't you multiply that by like 64 and then whatever 64 times 64 is? Can you handle that? Right? What are we going to do to help people deal with the info glut? Whose job is that?